Hey guys, welcome back to Overtakes. I'm Kel.
And this is Misfit.
And we are here with our Stage 4 preview. So this is the final stage of the Overwatch League Season 1. So this is gonna be a little bit different. Obviously, we'll have the stage playoff preview, but we're also gonna talk really heavily on the overall playoffs because obviously they're almost here.
And we're gonna focus on the teams. In this episode, we're going to focus on the teams that have a chance of making the final playoffs and, where they're at and things like that. Because we already know pretty much from 8 down, they have no chance in the final playoffs. Yeah, we'll talk about some stage stuff with San Francisco mostly. But, Dallas, Florida, Shanghai, they're done for the year. They're not going to get any better. Yeah, we're going to say, they improved a little bit here, a little bit there, or they got worse in this and that, but they're not going to make any difference up in the standings, in their win-loss total, honestly, in my mind. And I'm sure you're pretty much on the same thing with me. They're all three terrible teams right now.
The best shot that any of these teams have of affecting anything is just playing spoiler to one or two teams that are on the bubble.
Yeah.
That's really about the best hope that they have of affecting it. But I just don't see any of them being good enough to beat the teams that they would need to beat to, make the stage playoffs. And obviously, they're all mathematically eliminated from the overall playoffs, so they're completely irrelevant to that discussion.
Yeah. And really, in the stage playoffs, everybody's relevant to an extent, but you guys all know it's pretty much 1 to 8 or 9, minus the 3 teams we just talked about that have a shot at the stage playoffs. And you pretty much know half to 3 of the 4 teams that are going to be in there.
Right.
New York's going to be up there. Boston's going to be up there. London's not going to be like they were last stage. And then you have pretty much 5-6 teams battling for one spot in the stage.
Right. And London is predicated on Birdring returning to form. If he returns to form, everyone's done. Pack it up. London's going to be a terrifying team. Yeah. But if he doesn't, then it kind of shakes things up and it could be interesting.
Things get a little interesting. But everybody's had some time off, and I'm sure he's from what they said, he had some wrist issues and things like that.
Yeah.
So a couple weeks off helps that out immensely.
Right.
But anyway, we're going to start with, let's go over the standings before we even get into the stage. So
New York is a lock. I think they pretty much even locked up the number 1 seed. I don't think they'll definitely make the playoffs. We know that for sure.
Yeah.
No team can catch up to them in just about anything. And then I think they even almost have the number 1 seed locked up. I think they have to win like 3 games to lock up the number 1 seed, or 2 games maybe.
Because honestly, they would have to go 4-6, and the next closest team is Boston. They would have to go 10-0 again. And I don't think they're going to go half a season without getting beat.
Yeah, I just don't see that either. I think that teams are going to use the game that they played against New York in the finals of Stage 3 against them and will exploit them. And then also the meta changing, I think, kind of hurts them as well.
Yeah, they're one of the teams that are going to get hurt by the meta change. New York, a little bit, but they're adaptable.
Yes.
Boston doesn't.
Baby Obi can play a character besides Tracer.
Yeah, and we don't know. I mean, Stryker can play some McCree. He can play some Junkrat, that kind of thing. So that kind of helps him out a little bit.
But then the mistakes' hero pool is pretty limited, so that kind of...
Yeah, he's pretty much a flankers and Widowmaker.
Right.
Really, because they don't... At least New York has the sub of Pine if they wanted to take out Libero, or... they wanted someone to do, the stuff that we always talk about with Pine.
Well, I mean, the really big thing with New York that helps them so much is that Libero has such a massive hero pool.
Yeah.
And those are the guys that are really gonna help out, and that's why I actually, thinking about it, I do think that Seoul is gonna have a really nice push here.
Yeah.
Because of that, but we'll get to that in a second because next time New York's pretty much a lock, and I expect them to be in the top 4, probably the top seed again.
Yeah, I don't see them dipping
for the stage playoffs as well.
Yeah, I don't see them dipping too much. Honestly, like you said, Libero's kind of the key.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we were talking about in the maps and the meta thing that you're going to need is a decent Pharah, and his Pharah is really good. They just don't use Pharah as much as the other teams do.
Right.
You know, you don't think, I mean, you know that he has a good Pharah, but you're not looking at it like, you know, like say Philadelphia, who, you know, on certain maps is always going to use Pharah.
Yeah.
You know, New York does their, fuck you, stop this thing. Mm-hmm. Which seems to be working. Moving on to, we're talking current standings here. Right now, Boston, the number 2 team, they kind of adapted that too.
Yeah.
A little bit. But I'm kind of with you. I think
they have a little bit,
I think they drop a little
advantage of this because Mistakes just doesn't have that hero pool.
Yeah.
And that's going to force, it's going to force Striker off of Tracer, and him not playing Tracer really shakes things up for that team a lot.
Yeah, it does. And I'm sure a lot of teams in Boston, I'm sure is one of them, are going to test the waters out with the dive.
Yeah.
There's certain places where, I mean, these guys are pros and they know how to run things. There are going to be certain times where, you know, like everybody else on ladder and what we expect some of these people to do, because it's what we're seeing right now. Mm-hmm. They're going to be like, no, we're running dive on Hanamura. We're not doing this sludgy, tank heavy, bash your head in thing.
I think it's going to make, it's basically just going to make dive more situational.
Yeah. And they're going to,
and then the sludgy shit, like, it's just going to make different comps more situational. I think it's,
yeah.
And people, yeah, I mean, especially with these guys, like, they know how this all works. They've played this game so much, and just, they're going to figure something out. They're going to figure out a way to make things work out the best, especially a team like New York.
Yeah.
A team like Boston. They just seem to really have excellent coaching that just knows how to take advantage of mismatches and all of that. And I mean, that's really the key to any professional sports league.
Yeah, and I think with Boston, too, on the coaching and all that, we're going to see a lot more Kalios with this, because he has a better off-tank pool than Note. Note's kind of like a diva specialist. I think he can play a little bit of Zarya, a little bit of Roadhog, but Kalios is better on all the other off-tanks, I guess, than whatever you want to call that grouping of, like, you know, your Roadhog, your Diva, Zarya kind of grouping of heroes.
Possibly Brigitte as well.
Yeah, and possibly Brigitte.
I would feel like, I don't know, Brigitte will make things interesting as far as the off tanks.
Yeah, and I want to see who actually plays them. That's going to be,
yeah.
Are you going to throw one of your supports on there, or are you going to have your off tank
play them,
or like your guys like Zappos or Spree, or those specialisty kind of guys?
Then you run the 2 support Brigitte off tank, that type of thing. Is that really the meta we're going to see a lot of? Like, is that going to be the majority of what we'll see? Or will that just be, like, more circumstantial than anything else?
Yep.
I think that's really the big question.
Yeah, and I think...
Because I know at some point, if that's the way it is, there's going to be a team that's going to figure out a counter to it, and then that will become the new thing, then it just changes everything.
I'm going to throw this out there. 10-1 at someone with a fucking godlike Tracer. I'm not fucking joking.
Oh yeah.
I'm not even joking. Someone like Sabiobi, you don't think he can blink before someone shield bashed him?
Right.
Of course, they're playing on that patch with the shield bash that's 5 miles wide. It's as wide as the new fucking Symmetra ultimate.
Right.
That goes across half the map. But you know what I mean. Someone's gonna figure it out. Like, you run a Sombra Tracer, hack Pulse Bomb, gone.
Yep.
Just throwing that out for you guys.
And we did mention it a little bit, moving on to London. The big key for them is the return of Birdring. If he comes back and plays to form, I mean, that team really could benefit from this meta, because they have 2 guys that are exceptional at multiple characters.
Yeah, and then
just have, like, completely, like, almost opposite hero pools.
And they're both good on Tracer.
Yeah, they're both good on Tracer, but they're good at, like,
at
they're
everything.
good at all the projectiles. Like, one is really good at all the projectiles, the other one's really good at all the hit scans. So, London, I think, is really sitting in the ideal position that they want to be in and going into this stage.
The one thing, too, is they have 3 really good supports and 3 really good tank players.
Yeah.
Because you have Gesture, Wuyal, and Fury in the tank line. And then you have Closer, Nuss, and Bedosin. I don't see a meta where this team... They were a little off in the last one. I think it was more the Oasis map and map 5 that really killed them multiple times.
Yeah.
Than anything. Because if you look at it... like,
it was that, and then it was the lack of Birdring.
Yeah, and Birdring being out, that killed them a lot, too.
That really hurt them more than anything else.
But if you put it like, everybody's healthy and they're ready to go in this, I really think that it's going to be 1-2 them in New York.
Yeah. I agree.
Because Prophet, his hero pool fits this meta like perfectly.
Yeah.
And then you can put him on Roadhog too on top of it. That little shit on Roadhog.
My God.
God. Then he's got the tank killer Reaper, and him and Fleta are the two best Reapers in the league.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to Fleta and his team in a minute. Yeah, London, that tank line, that's what I'm interested to see what happens. Because they rotate their tank, the Fury and Wu Yao, not necessarily match. It's match by match, not map by map.
Yeah.
It could change, though, where you're bringing one of them in for that third tank, and you don't know what Fury was in and out of the lineup a lot in the last stage, and they ran more Wu Yao on Diva. So he could have been working on, more Zarya play, Brigitte play, more Roadhog, because Jester's a freaking master at Reinhardt, which you got a couple of maps where you're going to use Reinhardt. So you get that one-off tank, and then you get the second one in there, because they're great players anyway. I see them challenging New York again.
Yeah, I agree.
I think much like Golden State and the Cavs.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're going to have again. Even though they're in the same division and all that doesn't really matter until we talk finals. And
even then, it really only matters in the sense of
the standings,
the final standings, and it
buys. I think
the only one that matters is freaking Seoul, because everybody else in the Pacific is just garbage.
Yeah, everyone's hovering around 500 or slightly above.
Yeah.
Well,
because I think the next closest team after Seoul is
the Valiant.
And then
they're 2 games out, and they're mad.
And Houston.
Yeah, and they have
Gladiators.
Yeah. No, Houston's in the East, or in the Atlantic.
Houston is in the Atlantic.
That was the weird.
Yeah, that's right. Because Dallas is in the.
Yeah, in
the Western one or whatever.
The Pacific. But even though the Valiant are only 1 game behind them, it just doesn't feel like it. It feels like Seoul's in control.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Even with Seoul not making a single stage playoffs.
Yeah.
They still are in control of that division, and then also just in general, even with all the wonky shit that they've been doing over the season, you still don't want to underestimate that team, because they just have too much talent, and you question a lot of what their coaching does, but I mean, they gotta have something up their sleeves.
They do, and I think this is where they make a push.
Yeah.
We could see, and if Rujehong works out in that tank position, which he has all of the extras that you need to be a main tank.
Yeah.
More than any other team that we've seen try and move somebody in, moving Taimuan, who's just basically a mechanical god.
Yeah.
Rujehong has all of the leadership, all the intangible stuff. He's just got to learn to play the hero.
Yeah.
And that's if you're running a lot of Winston. Then you got to go into Houses Reinhardt.
Right.
But he can see, the thing is you could bring in Miro for those maps where you need Reinhardt and move him to Roadhog. Or move him to Zarya or something like that.
There's any number of combinations that they could run that are just, they're nightmarish.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could even put him back on support or whatever. Right. And then you have Fleta run.
Right. And I think I'm really interested to see what Seoul does in this stage.
Yeah, me too.
I really feel like they've gotten to the point where they put themselves in a position where they're still very much in it, and they can turn it on, kind of flip the switch type of situation.
Yeah.
I could absolutely see that happening.
Kobe Shaq Lakers style.
Right. And I could definitely see it. Yeah. The way that the top 4 teams are right now, that could be our stage playoffs. And honestly,
it wouldn't surprise me at all.
If I was a betting man, and we'll get into that a little later, that is what I would, that would be my bet. Yeah. And
since get into that a little bit later, I'm just going to bet against London on Oasis.
Yeah. Right.
Every time. And I'm just going to, and by the way, if that does come about with this league, you ain't going to make any money on New York.
Right. Right.
They're going to be minus 500 in every match.
Right. I was going to say, I mean, if you're looking for safe bets, go New York to make the finals.
Yeah. Yeah. Stage finals, regular finals, whatever.
All of them.
But actually, Seoul could be one of those dark horse bets. We'll get into the betting thing a little bit later. We want to talk about that one of the other keys to Seoul, I think, is getting that support line. If you don't have Rouge Hong in there, because they're honestly their DPS are fine.
Yeah.
Munchkin's decent enough. Fleta is like Prophet. This is a perfect meta for him to shine in with his massive hero pool. But their supports are what's shaky in my mind when Rouge Hong's not there. Even when Rouge Hong was there. Because honestly, I looked at the stats. We talk about how great he was. I think there was a move to move him out. He's like the number 7 or 8 Zenyatta in the league right now.
He started off incredibly and then just really fell off.
I mean,
in the later parts of stage 1, and then from then on, he just hasn't been the same. He just hasn't been the same player.
Yeah, and I think this is a move because maybe some of his his skills are a little bit off. His mechanical stuff. Put him on the main tank. Diminishing
skills. As
Bill Belichick called it, equivalent of Houston in this league, pretty much. Slightly above 500, nobody could score on them, and they just sludged their way to victories.
Yeah,
and it's the perfect analogy, actually.
It really is.
The late _80s Browns are the Houston Outlaws,
and then they just get devastated by one guy. Yeah, basically.
Who would that be? Prophet's John Elway?
Pretty much. Prophet or...
Sabiobi.
Yeah, Sabiobi.
The Tracer is their John Elway. Yeah. How's that?
The other team's Tracer is the John Elway.
If she had John Elway's teeth, though, I'd take up all of her head because she's small. John Elway's head on Tracer's body. Picture that, folks. Oh, anyway, God. Let's get back into this.
Now I'm just picturing, something from, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
All right, but...
The Island of Misfit Toys, the Tracer doll that has John Elway's head on it.
So let's move on to the Valiant.
Yeah, let's move on to the Valiant. This is where it starts getting weird, man.
Yeah, this is where it really does get weird. Because, the Valiant looked really good at times in stage 3.
I want to like the Valiant. It's one of those things...
I do, too. I really do.
I look at their roster and you're like, damn, this team is good.
Yeah.
And then they go out there and you're, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah. Oh, man. I mean, and then they got completely exposed by New York. New York just manhandled them. They had zero chance against that team.
It's unfair to bring that up, but
But it's true.
It's true.
If they want to be legitimate contenders, they have to be able to at least put up a fight against New York.
Yeah. New York absolutely hammered them in that playoff game. And
I mean, they had no shot against that team, and it was plainly obvious from the get-go.
And some of it is, I think their DPS got exposed a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say it's outside of Bunny.
Yeah, Bunny played really well.
Bunny played decent, but where are you at with that guy now that's a Tracer specialist?
Right.
So you got that guy, you got Soon, and you got Agilities, which I'm assuming in this meta you're probably going to see more of that.
Yeah.
And I'm a little shaky on those guys right now.
Yeah, same.
Agilities has a good hero pool. He's like the poor man's Libero, I guess is what to say. Or he's somewhere around hydration level.
That's a really good comparison.
Except for the one...
Maybe... Yeah, I think hydration is pretty fair. Maybe a slight half step above hydration.
Yeah. But above hydration, a slight step up because his Pharah is better, I think.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing. I mean, you're going to need that. But soon now, what do you do with... You got a couple of guys that are specializing in Tracer, but soon we saw some of his hero pool where he's more diverse than everyone thought.
Yeah, so I definitely think we'll still see... Soon's not going anywhere. But,
and he's going to be Widowmakering a lot.
Yeah.
On this map pool.
Oh, for sure.
And he's got a decent McCree, too.
Yeah. And I'm sure he could soldier if need be as well. So
most of these guys...
Actually, no, I think we have seen him play soldier. And he, when they had Hanamura last time, I think he played soldier a few times.
Oh, yeah, he did, didn't he? Yeah.
He shredded.
Yeah, he was actually... He was on that... What's with the French guys in fucking soldier?
I don't know, man. But yeah, the Valiant are going to be an interesting team. And I really feel like in the stage playoffs, they're going to be on the outside looking in.
Yeah, I do too.
And on this... If they don't really perform strongly, they got a shot of missing the playoffs.
Yeah, they do. They have to stay neck and neck with the 3 teams below them.
I think the one thing that they have to their advantage is when they had that streak of getting all those 4-0s, that might end up coming back to save them because they have a pretty good grasp on the map differential.
Yeah, the next closest team is Houston, but Houston's 2 games behind them.
Right, and it's still points or 8 maps behind, so that's pretty significant to try to make up.
And they're 12. The next team below them, Philadelphia, is 12 maps different from them. Yeah, and the Gladiators are really out of the map differential unless they go on one of those 4-0 streaks.
Right, and they would need to do that, and they'll need to...
Everybody else to lose.
Yeah, but at the same point, we will talk about the Gladiators. I do think that they have a good shot of actually getting in.
I do too.
Because this map pool really favors them. But with the Valiant, it's iffy. I really think that they could end up being one of those teams that gets left out.
I do. It's the next 3 teams. It's going to be hard to figure this out.
It's going to be a dogfight.
I mean, you could kind of throw Seoul into that a little bit, but I think Seoul's going to come back.
Yeah, I do too.
As much as I've ragged on Seoul on the last stage for all the weird decisions and all that, I think Seoul is kind of get back up. You get these guys healthy, Miro and all these people. They'll be good. But the Valiant, man, I just can't put my finger on what I don't like about them.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly...
I think it's their inconsistency. Because there's times where you're like, okay, they're going into this match and they've been playing really well. They look really good. And then they just go in and they get pooped on. It's absolutely absurd. Like, how... you just show up and this is your big match. This is your chance to really solidify your place.
Yeah. And you're going...
And you just put up a dud.
They can't... The thing is, they can't afford to do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what it is? It's they play above average. They don't play out of their mind.
Right.
Except for Space. Diva gets knocked out of this meta.
Yeah, that's another thing.
I know he can play Roadhog, because I saw him play, he's played some good Roadhog. But...
Are they gonna have enough people and the right people to make this meta work? And I just don't know if they do. Yeah. I can't say for sure one way or another. I really can't on this team.
I mean, the only other thing that could happen with them is like we were saying with the DPS, is you move Kariv back onto DPS.
Yeah.
And you run Verbo and Custa as your support. I mean, that's the only other thing I can think of.
Right.
And then you can have Kariv as like your Roadhog, Zarya, off tank. I mean, Space has got a decent grasp of the game. I think he could play some other characters.
I feel like he's got to have some other characters up his sleeve. It's just been a point of
Diva's been mattered so much. You don't know what these guys, it's like the guys that play Widowmaker all the time, soon you're like, I didn't know he was really good at Soldier. I didn't know he was really good at Free. I mean, he has good mechanical skill, but you still have to know the hero.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah. That's going to do it, guys. Be sure to hit up part 2 of this. We'll have this up later on today. Don't forget to hit a like, a subscribe. Thanks for all of your subscriptions and all that good stuff, guys. It really means a lot to us. All the participation you guys have been doing with us down below. Don't forget to join the High Noon Pick'em for Stage 4. We're ready to go. We didn't hit our goal of 200 subscribers. That's okay. And we appreciate all of you guys that came in. Be sure to hit up our social media sites where we're going to be posting, what we got going on. We're going to do a lot more interactive stuff with you guys. We will catch you guys on the next one.
Later, guys.